If I were in my 20s again, I would think very long and hard about how I want to address my work life for the rest of my life. It would be on my mind all the time. Looking back at that period of my life, I didn't care about anything except work, not relationships, not balance, just accomplishments, just money. In our culture, that's noble. That's exactly what we're told we should be doing. But I think there's a better way. Actually, I know there's a better way. And it starts by taking a long, hard look at exactly how much of your life you want to give to any endeavor. Because at the end of the day, you're not just giving time, you're giving your life. And by 40, trust me, it's your life. The happiest, most successful people I know had a family young and early. That's just a fact. You don't have to like it, but that's a fact. And the happiest of all of them paid attention to that family. They never neglected it. That group is small, less than 20% of the people I've known in my whole life. So what about the others? Successful people? Sure. Some people are worth 8 to 9 figures that I know, but you know what? They neglected their families and they're still struggling in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, albeit struggling in a different way. The ones who never had a family are typically a mess by 40. And the men and women in their 30s who are given all their time to their job are realizing in their late 30s that they're a mess too. Not because work is evil, but because work has been put in the wrong place. The problem is not ambition. The problem is not building. The problem is disorder. When you put yourself at the center of everything, your accomplishments, your image, your success, everything else orbits around you. And whatever sits at the center will demand everything. Even if you build a family around your ambition, you will still end up starving that family if the true center remains you, because you are never actually giving yourself away. You are using everything, including your spouse and children, as extensions of your own project. That is why so many driven people end up divorced later in life. Not because they didn't care, but because they never died to themselves. The real shift is theological. You must reorder the structure of your life so that God is the foundation. God gave you a vocation. For most men, that vocation is marriage and children. Your duty as a man is to support that family. But support does not just mean monetarily, it means presence, it means strength, stability, sacrifice, leadership, and tenderness. The same is true for women. A woman's vocation toward marriage and children is not secondary to ambition, it's primary. Work can serve that vocation, but it cannot replace it. And when God is the center, vocation becomes the organizing principle. Work becomes a tool. Marriage becomes a covenant. Children become gifts. Your job is just a means of service. Everything changes when you are no longer the point. Christianity says you must die to the self. Well, what do you think that means? People treat that like some abstract spiritual statement. It isn't. It's not. It starts right here in how you approach relationships, marriage, children, and your job. To die to the self means you no longer treat your accomplishments as your identity. It means you no longer measure your worth by output. It means you no longer protect your autonomy at the expense of covenant. It means you give yourself away. And paradoxically, that is where integration happens. Because when God is first, you're freed from being your own foundation. When vocation is clear, work has its limits. When marriage is covenantal, it's not disposable. When children are gifts, they are not interruptions to whatever you want to be doing. If you are in your 20s, you're not just choosing a career. You're choosing the structure of your entire life. If you build your life around yourself, everything will serve you and eventually collapse under that weight. If you build your life around God, everything will have its proper place. That's a fact. Ambition is not the enemy. Disorder is the enemy. Reorder the structure, put God at the foundation, receive a vocation as a gift from God, and then build. But build in the right direction.